Why do hot dogs come in packages of 10 while hot dog buns come in packages of just 8?
Hello guys, I'm back and welcome to a quick reviews for Bulletproof Monk, released in 2003, directed by Paul Hunter, a very famous director for known his R&B music videos.
So check out how we live in the Electric City!
This film is nostalgia in a bottle. I haven't seen this film in about, 10 years? I remember watching this film when I was younger, back in the VHS days. Does anyone remember the trailer? Does anyone remember that really awesome VHS trailer where they kind of show off the action and then the music was really badass? And one of the reasons I decided to kind of pick it up and kind of relive it is because obviously I'm really into my Hong Kong cinema, of course, and it's one of those films that I remember really like, with Chung Yun-fat and Sean William Scott. Hong Kong in style kind of, fusion with American culture kind of thing. And we've seen that work before within like Rush Hour and of course The Fantastic Drive, Mark Dacascos. So I thought this might hold up. It did not.
Just love me.
Yes, unfortunately, Bulletproof Monk does not stand the test of time. This was boring, to say the least. Bulletproof Monk's based on a comic book series, by the same name kind of thing, based on like a character that kind of gets a scroll that allows him to get, an immortal life kind of thing, a very kind of ancient kind of tradition between these kind of monks and these kind of monasteries kind of thing. And the character Chung Yun-fat is trying to find the next successor to carry on the torch, pass on, someone who is kind of heart, good spirit, who can fight against the people. And it's kind of got that kind of wanted kind of feel towards it, which I thought that film, also based on a graphic novel, was a lot more interesting, a lot more successful, and still holds up a lot more kind of thing compared to this film does. The biggest problem with this, you've just got the wrong people involved, in terms of the positive, I'll get to the positive first. The one thing I did like about Bulletproof Monk is that I did like the chemistry between Chung Yun-fat's character and Sean William Scott. They do have some chemistry on screen. I do like the little bit of banters and little digs kind of thing.
Says he wants to kick my figures. You do a lot of talking.
Some on-screen chemistry, and I think those two would obviously there to sell the kind of film and sell the kind of the buddy cop kind of nature towards it, very similar to kind of Jackie Chan with Chris Tucker, and same with Drive kind of thing, and some of these other kind of American Hong Kong inspired kind of movies. There's always kind of a buddy cop kind of feel towards it, like a team up, and there's definitely some good chemistry there, and I think they definitely did the best they could with the material they were given. Unfortunately, everything else about the film really doesn't work. And it's weird because it's a 2-hour movie, and one, the action is pretty bad. It's just really badly edited. You can tell there's some actual stunts being performed and there's some actual moves, but it's so choppy. I don't think there's enough confidence to allow the actors and the performers to really dive in and escalate that action. It's going up that Taken Free style of editing to it, and I really don't like that. Where it kind of cuts away from the action, cuts away from the punches, doesn't allow the scenes to feel organic. It doesn't feel like someone's actually doing this. It just feels like a chop and paste kind of edit, which is a bit of a shame because you've got some actual performers here, and I know Sean William Scott is no stranger to kind of action fight scenes, really nicely filmed. Considering this is a music director kind of first time feature film, his only film to that extent kind of thing. He never made another film after this. I can see why. It's nicely shot. It looks nice. There's some nice wide angles kind of thing. Some of the chase sequences look pretty nice. It's not badly filmed. It's not shoddy for a first proper feature film. The film was drastically reshot, re-edited, re-put together kind of thing in terms of kind of the ending and some of the kind of fight sequences. And originally, the director behind this film was going to be the legendary John Woo, which would have been fantastic. And you can tell that because it's missing that kind of John Woo kind of edge. You did the script, the kind of the performer, the idea of this whole thing feels like a John Woo type movie. And he unfortunately backed out, and this was unfortunately at the same time last Chung Yun-fat's last American film. And as mentioned in kind of, my Better Tomorrow double bill review, Chung Yun-fat's an interesting kind of actor and performer and kind of thing. He's had a massive range of his career, going from a romantic comedy comedic type of performer to an action hero star, and then back and forth, kind of thing within his kind of later movies. And he did a little bit of brief period within the US, and unfortunately a lot of his American movies didn't do well for him financially, and I think it's also a struggle of like American directors and American studios didn't know how to use it. It's disheartening a little bit with that kind of model within the early 2000s. Obviously today's kind of standards are very different. We have a very different kind of model in that sense. We like to have main kind of, foreign stars be kind of the main lead of the films now, which is fantastic. Shang-Chi really proved that kind of a Marvel movie that can sell and did really well in terms of bringing new audience in. Parasite, Squid Game kind of thing. A lot of these materials, a lot of these kind of foreign properties now are really coming in a lot more on the front now within kind of Western kind of audiences, which is absolutely fantastic. But the early 2000s was a very special year, and now and again they get it right, now and again they get it wrong, and this one unfortunately was very, very wrong. Of course, I like some of the influences from kind of Hong Kong cinema. One of the things I do like is kind of Shaw William Scott's character when he goes back home and he lives in the cinema, which the cinema is showing old kind of Hong Kong movies on the big screen, and he learns his kind of fight skills from Hong Kong movies, and he's kind of mimicking their moves, and he's learning his kind of skill set from watching Hong Kong movies. And I thought that was a nice nod. That was nice. I thought that was quite cool. And I like the fact the owner is Japanese, that owns a kind of Hong Kong cinema showing Hong Kong movies. I thought that was quite funny. You can tell there's some good elements there. I think the main villain for the film is, of course, a Nazi from World War II who is seeking the scroll and trying to find the monk to get eternal life and to kind of, reclaim his kind of power within the world again. And yeah, Bulletproof Monk, an interesting blast from the past, a film that I actually quite liked when I was younger. Obviously, watching it from a modern day perspective, obviously seeing a lot of Hong Kong movies, and my reappreciation for kind of Hong Kong / American influenced cinema. Yeah, this one does not hold up. I think it would have been a lot better if you got John Woo involved, which was originally intended. It would have been great if they actually used Chung Yun-fat as an actual performer, as an actual action. If they allowed him to kind of do all the stunts for the film, I think would have been fantastic. Again, they're going for this kind of like early Matrix kind of style as well, with the bullet time and kind of backflips, and it doesn't do anything for the film. There's some nice nods here and there to kind of other kind of Hong Kong movies. The chemistry between Chung Yun-fat and Chow William Scott is nice. Wish there was a bit more in the film for it kind of thing. I think the writing isn't great. And funny enough though, the writer of this film is the guy that did Kung Fu Panda trilogy. I mean, Bulletproof Monk is a product of its time. Doesn't hold up at all. It's pretty bad, pretty boring, but an interesting to kind of revisit it after so many years. So yeah, what are your thoughts and opinions, guys, on Bulletproof Monk? Please comment down below. What is your film that you really liked as a kid? An early 2000s film, a 90s film that you absolutely loved. You watch it modern day and it really does not hold up. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions, guys. Please comment down below. So meantime, guys, I'm for reviews. Signing out.